Yes. Timekeeper? Audience? When I was younger, I watched a lot of TV shows. But one of my favorites was the Jetsons. Not only did I love George and his family, but I loved thinking about what the future could be like. I imagined flying cars and moving sidewalks. Although we don't have Rosie the robot yet, we have made some significant technological advances. However, I can't help but feel a little twinge of disappointment. It just isn't what I had imagined. We have smartphones, but they can't brush our teeth or make our breakfast. Sure, we can send messages in an instant, but then there's autocorrect. Last November, I texted my mom, "Where's Grandma? I thought she was going to be here for Thanksgiving." She replies, "Grandma is in the grave." Wait, what? What grave? What are you talking about? Oh, oops, garage, sorry. And autocorrect is just the beginning. How many times have you thought you were texting "I love you" to your mom, only to find out that it actually went to your boss? We never saw that in the Jetsons. While we all love our technology, it can be a real pain. Yet, it's interesting to me how, as a culture, we have let it consume us so thoroughly. This awesome, yet very flawed innovation is just one thing that we have allowed to detract us from an essential element of humanity. People need deep, healthy, human relationship in order to thrive. As Jimmy Cohen said in his video, The Innovation of Loneliness, man is a social creature, and the feeling of loneliness can drive him mad. As the social fabric in the Western world weakens, it's not surprising that more and more people define themselves as lonely. And thus, loneliness has become the most common ailment of the modern world. You may think, how can that be? I'm with people all day, and I have more friends than I can count. One problem is that a majority of many people's friendships are not true friendships. Theologian J.R. Miller writes, "If you don't know what hard times your friends are facing, or what struggles they're fighting, then you have a superficial acquaintance, not a friendship." How many of our friends, then, are merely superficial acquaintances? Loneliness is not necessarily a result of being alone. You can be around a lot of people, but feel completely isolated. In humans, perceived isolation is so much more significant than physical isolation. In a study done by the University of Chicago, loneliness shows up in measurements of stress hormones, immune function, and cardiovascular function. The same study finds that lonely adults consume more alcohol and get less exercise than those who are not lonely. Their diet is higher in fat, their sleep is less efficient, and they report more daytime fatigue. Loneliness also disrupts the regulation of cellular processes deep within the body. I think it's safe to conclude that all of us need other people in order to thrive. We must be around other people in order to be happy. But even though we don't realize it, most of us are lacking in these relationships. There are three main reasons for this. 1. You cannot maintain a healthy relationship through technology. We like to make texting or social media a replacement for healthy human interaction, but this is ineffective. Loneliness has infiltrated our culture and caused us to have a false sense of connectedness. In a recent interview, author and motivational speaker Simon Sinek talked about being at a restaurant and seeing a couple. He said that both of them were on their phones the entire time, and that they were so preoccupied on their phones, they didn't even realize he took a picture of them. In a study done by Business Insider Intelligence, U.S. smartphone owners send more than 2,000 texts per month on average, 67 texts on a daily basis, and receive another 1,800. Do you spend more time talking to your Facebook friends than to your actual friends? This is the trend of our culture, and it's taking its toll. You'd think that so much connection would make us feel more connected, but it doesn't. We need conversation. You cannot truly know someone through the information they have on their Facebook page. Second, you cannot maintain a healthy relationship if you do not devote time to that relationship. In our world today, much like the Jetsons, we expect everything to happen at the push of the button. But companionship takes time. You can't expect a truly meaningful relationship without putting in the time. Relationships cannot be something you're involved in when it's convenient. It takes time to get to know someone. Unless two or more people are actually together, it's hard to truly know and serve one another. Even when friends maintain a long-distance relationship, it's typically built off a lengthy period of personal investment in one another's lives. Third, you cannot maintain a healthy relationship if your focus is on yourself. If you are working at a relationship daily, then your first and foremost concern should be with the other person. Instead, we focus on ourselves and our self-promotion, and our culture encourages that. One great opportunity for self-promotion is technology. MIT professor Sherry Turkle writes, texting, email, posting, all of these things let us represent the self as we want it to be. We get to edit, and that means we get to delete. Instead of building friendships, we're obsessed with endless personal promotion, investing hours on end, building our profile, pursuing the optimal order of words in our next message, choosing the pictures in which we look our best, all of which is meant to serve as a desirable image of who we are. Not only do we see this in our technology, but we see it in our face-to-face interaction as well. To quote author Shimmy Cullen, we're collecting friends like stamps. No distinction of quantity versus quality. We pick our best pictures and only post what makes us look attractive. You cannot truly know and serve someone if the only reason you interact with them is because they have something to offer to you. But the problem of connectedness isn't limited to people's happiness. On October 1st, 2015, Christopher Harper Mercer walked into a classroom at Unka Community College. He opened fire, killing 9 people. Criminologist James Allen Fox writes that killers like this tend to be people who are failures. They failed at jobs, they failed at education, and they failed at marriages. Their ability to cope with life's frustrations begins to wear thin. They're isolated. They don't have a lot of friends to serve as a support system or a reality check. According to a Reuters news report, Harper Mercer had no meaningful connection with anyone in the Roseburg community. Witnesses said that he was a quiet, self-obsessed loner who appeared to be unable to make healthy connection with the outside world. Loneliness can be dangerous. Mere unhappiness can escalate into, as we've been seeing more and more, mass shootings. Loneliness is a common ailment of our culture, but fortunately, we have the cure. So what can we do? Students, sit next to that boy who's sitting alone at lunch. Talk to your friends instead of sitting next to each other and playing a video game. Talk about books, talk about movies, talk about teachers, but talk, interact. And for those of you who feel isolated, engage yourself. Go up and talk to someone. There is somebody who wants to be with you, but you need to make that first step and approach them. Parents, talk to your kids. Ask them questions about what's going on in their life. Sit the family down and have dinner together. Make the commitment to your family stronger than the commitment to your job, to your kids' activities, and to your own pleasure. When you think about it, maybe the Jetsons predicted our world today. After all, George took a flying car to work, not a flying bus, where he would have face-to-face interaction. When he walked his dog, they walked on the treadmill outside his home, not through a neighborhood. He didn't have a close friend, a Barney Rubble type.
Instead, he talked to different people each week over a TV screen. The Jetsons lasted only a season, but a healthy relationship can last a lifetime. To quote Anthony Lacine, "It's not how many friends you can count, it's how many of those you can count on." Thank you.